For years, Minky Couture has been donating blankets to NICUs across the country. Owner Sandy Henry's grandson was born at 30 weeks, and she placed a mini blanket in her grandson's incubator. We want to help other NICU families with the Heart of Minky program. For every adult-sized blanket purchased, Minky Couture will donate a mini-sized blanket to NICUs across the nation. Thanks to you, we can fulfill our dream to blanket the world.
While fall is full of changing leaves and sweet treats, for some it can also mean a bit of dread for what's to come. For those who deal with seasonal affective disorder or seasonal depression, the long winter months filled with shorter days and persistent grays can feel unpredictable and challenging.
It really looks a lot like regular depression, meaning someone may feel a sense of low motivation, maybe a little sadness and withdrawal. You might notice changes physically, like feeling more fatigued or appetite changes. These things, if they're problematic in your life, might qualify for seasonal affective disorder or kind of put you into that category clinically.
That's Dr. Carrie Ditzel, a clinical psychologist at Baker Street Behavioral Health. Ditzel works with a wide spectrum of patients affected by this change in weather. She notes that the term winter blues falls under the same umbrella as seasonal affective disorder, but it's simply a milder version.
Winter blues is something many people experience, and it's sort of the lesser version. It's maybe not as intense and it doesn't cause huge problems in your life, but it definitely takes a toll on us. So that is really the same sort of feelings, feeling a little less motivated, a little withdrawn, maybe not as engaged or wanting to do things. And the key with it is it comes during this time of year, especially here in the Northeast, where it's cold, where it's getting dark earlier. And that's really where the seasonal piece comes in. It's that it's a little cyclical and it comes during a certain time of year. And sometimes you don't even recognize that that's what's happening. We just feel a little blue, feel a little down during this time.
And this feeling is more common than you think. It's estimated that about 5% of Americans live with seasonal affective disorder. Experts believe this number is much higher in actuality, since many adults haven't sought out an official diagnosis. There are also varying degrees of seasonal affective disorder, which can range from sleeping more and feeling sad or tired some days, to the other end of the spectrum, where it can be completely debilitating nearly every day. Ditzel says that location obviously plays a big part in who's affected. If you live in California or Florida, it's likely that you're not losing a lot of sun and outdoor time. Whereas someone in the northern states is dealing with snow, rain, gloom, and much frostier temperatures that can make it hard to get outside. Another big factor that can make someone more prone to developing SAD? Past health history.
If you have a predisposition to mental health issues, like you've already had an episode of depression in your life, or you do struggle with depression, you may feel it exacerbate during this time of year. The other thing to think about is if you do have any chronic stressors in your life or any new stressors that are taking a toll on you. You know, it's all about how well we cope with things. And if you can look at your life and say, you know, there's things about what's going on with me right now that make me not as able to cope, then what might be winter blues for one person, for that person that has more stress and strain, more things going on, they may be more vulnerable to having the clinical form of the disorder.
So, if you find yourself feeling more sluggish or unmotivated, how can you start to turn things around now? Ditzel recommends doing a quick inventory of your sleep, diet, exercise, and direct environment. All of these basic lifestyle markers play a big role in determining mood.
Physically, make sure, you know, you're moving, and I'm not saying you go suddenly start some crazy fitness routine, but just make sure you're moving and not too sedentary. Sometimes in the winter, we're not as active. So making sure whatever is right for you, you're physically taking care of yourself and eating well and doing those things. Sleep can also really be impacted during this time of year, especially with the time change. So having a good sleep environment, making sure you're bedroom is light during the day and dark at night helps giving yourself, your mind, those cues that it's time to sleep, and being warm and inviting and having a sleep routine can be helpful. I also like to look at our environment and our home. I say lighten and brighten during this time of year, where otherwise we might want to just kind of hole up and be in a little bit of a cozy hole. It can still be cozy, but the light and the brighten can help. So I also say do a winter clean instead of a spring clean, and that kind of helps us mentally too. It helps us feel good and accomplished and feel good when we look around our space.
In addition to adding in a couple new lights around the house, consider investing in a happy lamp. This kind of light therapy works by exposing your face to extremely bright fluorescent light that mimics the natural daylight coming from the sun in the summer. It's easy to do at home, and patients typically see an improvement in symptoms after just a few days of consistent use. Experts recommend looking for a light box that has fluorescent light, a UV filter, and emits at least 10,000 lux of light. Simply put, lux is a measurement of light intensity. The lower the light intensity, the longer you'll have to sit in front of the box. With a 10,000 lux lamp, experts advise turning it on for 30 minutes to an hour per day shortly after you wake up. To avoid any eye damage, don't stare directly at the light, but rather keep it 6 to 12 inches away so the light is hitting your face. It's okay to eat, work, or read while in front of the lamp, but you must have your eyes open in order for it to work. Researchers believe that this added exposure to light releases brain chemicals that help boost mood and better regulate sleep. Ditzel also recommends checking in with your doctor first and reading the instructions for your specific happy lamp.
With anything that you're adding, like light therapy or with SAD, some people will look at different vitamin supplements. I always recommend that you talk to your physician about that, of course, for you personally. But the idea behind light therapy, I'll say, is to make up for the reduced light during this time of year and the physiological impact of that, because it does have some physiological impact on us. And it also can help cue your brain to being awake and alert a certain amount of the day. So it's definitely something that can be explored for somebody that really feels like they're struggling with that aspect of it.
And if you're struggling, she says that there's no stigma to seeking professional help. Speaking with a trained psychologist or psychiatrist can add in another layer of support and lead to some more answers and an official diagnosis.
If you are noticing major changes in your physical health, major changes in your sleep, major changes in your appetite, if you're having trouble doing your daily activities, whatever they may be, if you're not getting up and keeping your routine, if you're maybe not going to work some days or school, those kinds of things are those outward signs that whatever might be going on inside with you is more impacting your life, and that would be the signs to seek some professional help.
This fall and winter, take note of how you're feeling and recognize when you need to make some lifestyle changes or reach out for support. To find out more about seasonal affective disorder and our guest, Dr. Carrie Ditzel, visit viewpointsradio.org. For more behind the scenes, search Viewpoints Radio on Instagram, X, and Facebook. This segment was written and produced by Amira Zaveri. Studio production by Jason Dickey. I'm Marty Peterson. Coming up next week.
We just meet to get together, to help each other out, to support each other.
The fun and camaraderie of running with others. Then,
here's an ancient culture that had been closed off from us, that nobody knew what was going on, and then someone finds this for set in stone, and all of a sudden they can learn what that culture was all about.
How a 2,000-year-old stone unlocked the secrets of an ancient civilization. I'm Marty Peterson.
And I'm Gary Price. These stories in depth on your public affairs magazine, Viewpoints.
And that's Viewpoints for this week. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to learn more about upcoming shows and find a library of past programs on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. Plus, you'll always find previous segments and more information about our guests at viewpointsradio.org. Join us again next week for another edition of Viewpoints.
We made USAA Insurance to help you save. Take advantage of discounts when you cover your home and your ride. Discover how we're helping members save at USAA.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.